Hello there, Tony Baker from Six String Country, back for another lesson today where we're going to be looking at fast 12-bar country blues in the key of D. And I'm going to take you through 3 passes of this 12-bar blues progression. We're going to be doing a lot of country picking, chicken picking, hybrid picking, whatever you want to call it. And as we talk through these riffs, I'll go riff by riff, and then we'll talk about scale choices that I've made. And we'll kind of dissect each riff as we go. Before I get started, I've got to give a quick shout out to Sarah in Striking Matches, which is a really cool band out of Nashville, Tennessee. Be sure to check them out. They got some great music. Let's dive into the riffs. For this first riff, we're going to be right in D pentatonic. So it looks like this. Okay, we've got 2 positions to work with. Then when we do this, we're essentially sliding into a new position. Right? So we've got 2 positions of just straight D pentatonic, 7 to 9, and then 7 to D, and then again 7 to 9 on D, and then G string 7. Now we're sliding up 9 to 11 on the G string, to 10 of B, and then 10, 12, to 10 of high E. And then we switch over to D blues. Okay? So the whole thing looks like this. Okay, so that last part is. All right, we're doing some mode mixture. We're going to be doing that this whole set of solos. We're moving all over a D chord. The first part used D pentatonic, and now we're switching to D blues. So we get in this position, right? 10th fret is our pointer finger, but we're going to start with our pinky on the 13th fret of the high E string, pull it off to 10, then over to 10 of B, and then a bend on 13 of B. Pick it while you're bent, back down to 10, and then 12, full bend. Pick it again, this is on the G string, come back down to 10, 12, 10, and then over to D of 12. And that effect that you're hearing in there a little bit is an auto wah with a little, almost a slapback delay and just a tiny bit of reverb and then some compression. All right, the backing track is going to be available at the end of this video. It's at about 212 beats per minute. So any of these riffs, you can get started maybe at 100 BPM and then work them up to tempo, nice and slow. Okay, let's move on to the second line in the tabs. All the tabs are right beneath the video player at sixstringcountry.com. And this is going to be our first riff over a G chord. It goes like this. All right, that's all it is. And these first 2 are outlining G notes out of the G chord, right? We're doing double stops. We're sliding in to 12 of D, and then picking with our finger, the flesh of our finger, and kind of clucking the 12th fret of B. And we go 9 of D, 8 of B, and then with our finger again, our middle finger here, 10, 9, 7 on G, and that's all just one pick, and then pull it off. Then 9 of D, and then leave this middle finger on the G string, 7, 9, 7. And that's that whole G riff. And we're going to work our way down a similar thing using the 8 and the G string on the D chord. All right, this is outlining a D chord again. We're using double stops. We have an F sharp note there and a D note there. 6ths is the interval that we're using. And then we're moving down. The notes, all of these notes are in D mixolydian now, okay? So if you think of a G major scale, the 5th note in G major is D. 4, 5. And D mixolydian shares the notes, but it's got a whole different sound when we play the mixolydian scale. All right, D mixolydian is a great scale to use when you're playing country blues. You use it a lot in jazz. Use it all sorts of places, okay? But all these notes, right? come out of the D mixolydian scale. So we're going to start here, 7, slide 7 up to 9 on the A string, and then we're going to pick this A string, pluck the G string, 7 of G, then 7, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now we're setting ourselves up for an A mixolydian riff that looks like this. Sorry, yeah. What happens here in the chord progression is it goes from an A to a G. One measure of A, then one measure of G. For the A, we do this. All these notes are in A mixolydian. We've got that flat 7 right here, right? So we slide up. We go 4 to 2, 4 to 6 on G, and then 5 of B. Slide that up from 6 to 9 on G. And then we have 8 on B. Now your pointer finger's right there on the G string, 10th fret. I'm sorry, 7th fret. We go 7 to 10, and then the B string is 12th fret, and then 10 to 12. And that's the 13th fret of high E. What's this? And we're just outlining a G7 chord, or we're using G mixolydian here, okay? So we go from A mixolydian to G mixolydian. All right, now what I'm going to kind of call the turnaround, which is the 1 to the 5 chord, we'll go to a D chord, and we're just going to do this. 1 and 2 and 3, and that's on the 14th fret of G and high E. Mute the B string, and then we're really making A7, but we're really exaggerating that flat 7. 1 and 2 and that's 12, 14, 15. That's an A7 chord, but we're just doing these notes out of an A7 chord. 1 and 2 and that's one time through the progression. Okay, let's play that so you can kind of hear it all come together. I'll go nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we have this. We're going to start with some hits here. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So now we're back in D blues, right? We start here, we do that twice, again, and we slide down after that second hit. Then we go up to the B and the E string. And then this next time, we're really just, these aren't in, well, we've got this F, which is in D blues scale, but then we've got this B note, which is in D mixolydian. We're mixing notes here, setting ourselves up for the G7. That's the last one. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then we have a G riff, because now we're changing to a G chord, and we'll do this. And that is right out of G mixolydian. We've talked a lot about G mixolydian, so let's just take a quick second and figure out a couple spots where we can play G mixolydian, okay? G is the 5th note in a C major scale. So C major and G mixolydian share the same notes. They're different scales, but they share the same notes, okay? So here's a C major scale. This is a C note. So a G note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a G note. Now G mixolydian is going to share those same notes, but it goes from a G to a G, and it sounds way different. Here's G mixolydian. We can keep going. Right, another place to play it. Where's another place to play C major? Well, if we start on a G note and play that same set of notes from G to G, then that's G mixolydian. Okay, so we just identified 2 G mixolydians, and all these notes are in that scale, all right? So that's just, we're going 12 of B, 13 of high E, we're bending that B note just a half step, 2 more picks, back down, 10, and then back to 12, and then 10, to 12 of G, and then that again, 12, 10 of 12 of D next, okay? So we go. And then our next D riff is this. Fast it's. All right, I love that riff. I use it all the time. And we're just going 12 of D, roll it over to G, and cluck the G and the B string, 12. Pull off to 10, back to D, 12, and then cluck 10, of G, 11, back to the D string, 12, 10, 12, 11, 10, then kind of a mute on the low E string, 8, 9 of A, and then 10 of low E, okay? All right, now we have outlining an A7 chord. That's an A7, that's a G7. We're just outlining it. We've got a little approach tone there. So we go 12, 12, 10, 11, mute 12 of G. Then the same thing 2 frets down. 10, 10, 8, 9, mute 10. And then we have this riff to set us up for the turnaround. Going from the 1 to the 5, the D to the A, quick turnaround, and then we're going to be done with pass 2. And it looks like this. All right, so we're starting on 12 of G and B, and then 10, 11, pull it off to 10 again, 12 of D, 10 to 11, and then this is just an A7 chord, 11, 12, 10. Then mute up, mute up. All right, here's that second pass one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, now we're to this last pass. And we're just gonna start with the same kind of thing where we're gonna be, you're just doing 8th note strumming here with your pick, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And the pattern is gonna be like this. So the first one is 15, 14 of B and high E, then we're switching to 15, 13. This is part of a D major chord, right? And then the flat third or the blues note in the key of D is a F natural. So we're just switching that major to the blues note, okay, which is that F natural. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then we have this riff over the D. This is a pretty cool riff, if I might say so myself. Okay, we're just outlining a G, okay? This is a, let's see, this is a G, this is a G7. So we're working up to the major third here, back down, that's a G note, then that's the flat 7. We're using G mixolydian with a couple passing tones in there. So we've got 17, 18, 19, 18, 17, 20 of B, 18, and then 17, 18, 17, 19 of G, 17, 19, 16. And then we got to outline a D chord again. So we're going to go 14, 14, 14, 14 on G and high E, then slide up to 17. So we were outlining like pretty much a D major there, right? Up here, we're outlining a D7 chord, which when you're playing a blues or even like a fast country style is very common, okay? And then we're right here already, and we're going to end with this set of riffs. Okay, and this is really kind of chord chasing. John Fogerty does this in his solos for CCR all the time. We're just out, here's an A chord. So we're sliding into that from 17 to 18, then cluck the 17th fret of high E, 19 to 17 on B, and back to 18 of G. Then we're gonna slide into the same thing, outlining a G chord right here. So 14 to 16, and 15 of high E, 17, 15, 16. And then to end the song, slide into 14, 14, 11, 10. And then we've done this move already. 12 of D, roll it to G and B. Then 10 to 11 of G. And we're just outlining D chord, with a little blues riff to end. Okay? So let's do that third pass. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's the whole thing. So we've gone over every riff note by note. We've talked about the scales. Hopefully that was helpful for you if you're trying to figure out how to make up some of these solos yourself. I've got the backing track here for you, so you can work this up to tempo, go riff by riff. It's pretty short. You can memorize it, work it up till you can get it to 212 beats per minute. When you're ready, you can play it along with me, or you can mute the guitar on the jam along video with our mixer. And also, very important if you're trying to learn how to improvise, learn this, get some riffs, put them in your toolbox, and then improvise. Just practice riffing over it, okay? Use some of these scales. You can even just skate over the top using just this scale the whole time. You know, you go. That was one pass worth, and that was all in that one position, okay? So just mess around with it. Mess around with all the different scales we talked about. Try a little chord chasing. Try mixing in some major pentatonics, some blues, some mixolydian, and have fun with it, and you will be a better player for it.